what we want. I think we miss this a lot. Hey, how you doing? Yeah, I think we miss this piece. We don't just set an arbitrary goal. We set a goal based on what do we want out of life over the next 12 months, 3 years, 5 years, and make sure that they align, right? So what do we want? Second, we create a plan. Again, we did this in business planning. We set a goal and then we created a plan. One of the things that sometimes gets missed is number 3, we identify the lead pillars. And it's in this book, right? It says that every occupation has 2 jobs. First, their chosen occupation, and second, make new friends, lead generate, right? Lead generate is such a terrible connotation because we always talk about lead generation as a synonym, if you will, to cold calling. That's not the case. It just means we need people in our world that want our particular service, friends in our world that want our particular service. My dad's an orthopedic surgeon. He associates himself with a hospital because that's where people with new knees, that need knees and with bad knees go. If he didn't have a hospital where people with broken knees went, he would not have an occupation. There's no need for it, right? It's the same with us. And then we have to time block for the activities. The last 3 here, identify lead pillars, time block for activities, and then add accountability are the 3 that we always miss. Almost always.
Who's really good at putting a plan together?
Like that we all are.
No one? I'm the best planner and goal setter you've ever met.
The other 3 are a little bit more challenging.
A little bit more challenging because that's where the work requires.
And we all have
being a
challenges
dream
in
in one and
space.
2.
Like time block for activities. Who would say that there are on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being I'm a rock star at time blocking? Oh, I love it. So there are a lot of different strategies that people can put into place to be really good at time blocking, but it's really just asking yourself, what's the choice that I'm making so that I can hit my goals, and how am I protecting my time so that I invested in that space? And then lastly, who's my accountability partner? Is anybody in career development in here or in the Zoom world or have a coach? I know I coach some people in the ecosystem, right? Coaching can be really, really useful. So we wanted to throw this across your bow because this is how you should be thinking as we move into the end of the year. The reason we do this in October, I think it's October. And the reason we do this in October is because you've got 2 months to put everything in place, to get your lead pillars in place, to recreate your calendar, to add accountability so that come January, you're not doing it then. Because if you start doing it in January, you're going to be 3 months in arrears. You're 3 months behind on your 12-month goal. Anything to add?
Yeah, so the activity, you're doing it now, so you can create the activity. You're doing the activity to hit your goal so that come January 1, the activity is now the standard. Does that make sense? Right, so we take Q4 to create more activity, to increase our activity or change our activity, shift our activity so that it becomes a standard in 2024 and we're already in the habit. So we don't have to, like Vince says, take Q1 off, be like, Q1 wasn't great, but Q2, 3, and 4 are gonna be better. Let's start now so we can launch the whole year.
Sound good? So let's go. So for those that were at Business Planning Clinic. Oh, that's really good.
I'm not, we're good with that.
Yeah. So give me 3 ahas as to Business Planning Clinic. Like what's one thing that you learned or what's something that you are implementing or changing? Let's have a quick discussion. Give me an aha.
There were 90 people in the room.
Yeah, that was really awesome.
And a lot of you raised their hands and you guys didn't do anything.
One thing I got is that the big goals are achievable. You know, if you put them down and kind of put the path in place of how to get there.
Love it. I love that. When we chunk down our goals, and I love how Joseph does this. He divides everything. When we get our appointment number, he divides it by 40 weeks, right? Because that's assuming that I'm only going to work 40 weeks out of the year because life's going to get in the way, right? So if I chunk my goal down to 40 weeks out of the year, now I understand that it's a much smaller number of appointments that I have to go on. Because if my goal says I need 60 appointments in the year, maybe that's a little bit overwhelming. But if I can chunk it down and it says I only need to go on 1 a week, that is much more palatable, right? We can go and act on that. So I love that. Give me one more. You guys are fantastically energetic.
I'll tell you what, I'll give you mine.
Yeah, give us ours.
Joseph said, the market doesn't need to change, our activities around the market needs to change. What do we mean by that? So Mark King stood at an event in Charlotte and this agent was talking to him, asked him a question. He said, well, Mark, the market is down, so my business is down. And Mark King, the president of the company, said, okay, let's run with this. How many houses did you sell last year? Guy said a large number, like 250. And he said, okay, that's awesome. Congratulations. How many houses sold in your board? Guy said, well, like 35,000. He goes, okay. So not 250. He said, so there's still enough houses in the board that are selling for you to accomplish your goal, right? Well, yeah. Okay, so the market doesn't need to change. Your activities around the market need to change. That's as simple as it is. Until you have 100% market share, there's still business for you to go and get. Simple as that. There's still relationships for you to go after. There's still new pillars of lead generation that you can get. And as we spoke last week, we know that 80% of our agents' business is down, meaning that they're making less money. Meaning that if I came into 80% of people had jobs, real, and we'll call them real jobs. I know Sean Compton hates when I say that, but we'll call them jobs that are not real estate. And your boss comes in and says, hey, Jan, I need you to take 30% less money next year. Is that cool with you?
Yeah.
What would you do?
Work hard.
What would you do? If you're a salaried employee and they say,
Probably
hey,
get another job
you
too.
go get another job.
Yeah.
Well, that's probably what 80% of our agents are looking at doing right now. Is they're looking at getting another job. Because they're making less money and their boss themselves asked them to take less money this year. That's not gonna be the case this year because we know there was enough houses for our office to accomplish the goals that they want for everybody to make more money. We just have to shift our activities and we are going to do a better job of doing that. We also know that you guys are working your butts off because we can see that majority of our business is coming from the buy side, right? About 70% of our business, or a little over 70% of our business is coming from the buy side, meaning that you guys are working really freaking hard, right? If we shift our activities to go after a little bit more listings, our listing conversations are different. What do we get back? We get leverage, we get time, we get more control. So we have more opportunity to take more listings because we're selling the number of houses and there's still more listings on the board for us to take. So that's the conversation that we're gonna have today.
I love that.
I do too, and I really believe going into next year, we're going to have more people that are willing to list because something in their life has changed that will allow them to do so.
100%, because there are two reasons that people buy, sell real estate, and it's in the shift book, and they are personal reasons and positive market expectations. Positive market expectations has been removed, so we have to do a better job at identifying the individuals that have personal reasons to move, like Jan just mentioned. And that's what we're going to talk about, because there's a lot of individuals out there that are still listing property. It is just the reality. I get it. Inventory is low. I've heard them all. I absolutely have heard them all. And honestly, a market starts between the ears. We have to change our mindset about what that actually means and then adapt to the market. I was talking to my dad last night and I was talking to him about business or something. And I was talking to him, he was asking about this suit that we're not going to get into, but he was talking about the buyer's suit, right? And he asked me how that's gonna impact everything. And sure, is there gonna be a lot of impact? Potentially, like things are changing. But he also said, well, that's pretty cool. I said, what? He said, that's pretty cool. Now you get to figure out how to adapt, change, and win. I loved that because I remember hearing from Chris Heller, who was the CEO of Keller Williams International about, I don't know, 2016, 2017, somewhere around there. And I remember listening to him, it was right around election time. And somebody asked him, how is the election going to impact real estate? And he said, absolutely, it's going to impact real estate. But I've been in this industry for 20 years and your ability to adapt is paramount to your ability to succeed in the future. Your ability to adapt is paramount to your ability to succeed in the future.
And I think it's very important because part of the reason people stay in real estate is the challenge.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not boring and it's different with almost every transaction.
100%. And it's, we don't have to do the same thing every day and we get to change the way we look at things so that the things we look at change. And then we identify our plan. We identify our goal, we set our plan, we identify how we're going to win in that particular market. We time block for it, we add accountability. So
Why are listings important? We're just talking about listing. What?
control, I love that
Control.
one. You have control. Control over what?
Everything.
Darn near everything, your
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Specifically. Do you have control over your money?
Yep.
Without a doubt.
You don't
You're
take the
the
listing.
individual negotiating how much the seller is going to pay you. You're the individual then that actually controls the money. In this environment that we're in with the questions around buyer commissions being paid, right? That, who's susceptible to that? Is the listing agent? No, they aren't. Yeah, will commissions potentially change? Will what real estate agents earn for their service potentially change? Maybe, potentially, not if I can explain my value and articulate my value to a seller and help them win, whatever that means for them. But for a buyer, it does change. So time and money, I get to control. What else?
Alicia put it really simple to that, the other day on our call. She said, you wanna know how you don't have to worry about what's going on with the buyer side commission? Or be on the listing side? Like, okay, that's pretty simple. What else?
Love it. What else? We get to control the rest of our business because we have the opportunity to market that particular listing. Right? We get to, there's a lot of it,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna tell you right now, it's in the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book on page 102. All the reasons that you should leverage listings in your business, right? Marketing opportunities is the first one. You can get, you put your sign in the yard. You get to potentially door knock that neighborhood. You're leveraging that neighborhood, right? You have more control of your time. This is huge. I really pay attention to how much time I invest in things. It is a huge priority of mine. Time is huge. Seller listings maximize your per hour compensation. What's the average, how many hours typically, according to NAR, what's the typical agent spend in a transaction? About 50 hours, right? And I already know that there are only 6 aspects of tasks in a transaction that equal $1,000 or more an hour. Majority of them, more than 80% of real estate activities can be done by non-licensed individuals. Majority admin work, right? So how am I maximizing listings? I'm able to maximize my dollar per hour. Volume. In our experience, a highly focused, highly leveraged real estate agent can work 15 to 25 seller listings per month and keep it up. The same agent would be hard pressed to work 7 or 8 buyers per month and continue to do so over a long period of time. I think that's a huge point, and that's what we're seeing in our business right now. Friends, everybody is so stinking tired. I am too. We're all tired, and it's because we're focusing on the wrong activities. We're focusing on the activities that demand the most time spent to earn the paycheck at the end of the day. 70%, 65% of our business, our income, your income, comes from buyers. Which means that first, you act, 24 hours is a great equalizer. Would we all agree on that one? Does anybody have more than 24 hours in a day? Thank goodness, because I would have asked you how. So we've capped what we can actually earn in that 24 hours. And the people we can serve, more importantly, because we focused on buyers. We can increase the amount of people we can help by focusing on listings, 15 to 25 seller listings per month as compared to 7 or 8. Pretty cool. With seller listings, you're, what does that say? You are on the forefront of pricing. That's obvious. I'm controlling the entire transaction. By the way, if I have a buyer and the contract falls out, what happens to my income? Yeah, it goes away. Now, assuming we get under contract with another listing, I'm gonna be able to make that money and earn that commission. But if I'm the seller agent, if I'm the listing agent, what happens when a buyer contract falls out? Another one will come in, especially because we're in a low listing inventory environment, right? I'm controlling my paycheck, literally. And I'm helping the seller, right? That's great. But I don't have to worry about the fact that now I have to find another contract. Here's what's funny about real estate to me. the inventory, you hold no inventory. So your balance sheet, your P and L is spectacular because you hold no inventory. You're not like the restaurant down the street that has perishable goods on their inventory. They have to sell or else they lose money. Your inventory is listings. If you control the inventory, you control what everybody else wants. You're literally protecting your time and money. And then probably marketed listings. This is my favorite one, other than number 5. I really like number 5. But probably market seller listings bring you more business. They say, because I can't read that much, but they say that for every listing that you take that's well marketed, you get 2 buyers. Brings another buyer. That's a huge deal. So if I just focus on sellers, I'm gonna get the buyer business, assuming that I have a system to market that listing, which I should, because that would be in the right interest, in the best interest of the seller. Does this make sense? We should ingrain this into our heads. I'm a very stubborn individual, and if I can get my head around this one, everybody can get their head around this. This is an awesome, awesome thing. Anything to add here?
I've got nothing to add here. I mean, it's leads, listings, leverage, not leads, buyers, leverage. All for a reason.
Yeah, what's next?
Awesome. So how do I identify the highest probability of listings? You guys all know the answer to this as well, but we're gonna have a lot of elementary conversations here. And our goal is not to come give you guys this like brand new novel idea that's going to revolutionize the industry. We're taking what you know, hopefully sparking a conversation or some type of idea that you can take from here, implement in your business, and then go take action, go be a little bit more listings focused next year. Again, you guys know these answers.
Yeah, here's what I'd say to it. Everybody has that unit goal that you set, right? Maybe it's 30 units and I get to hit my goal, right? When I'm building my plan, or maybe it's 25, or maybe it's whatever amount of money, or whatever unit count it is. I would literally build my plan to make that the amount of listings that I want to hit. If I want to sell 30 units next year, I'm going to make that my listing goal. If I'm a buyer's agent on a team and I focus on buyers, I'm going to help my rainmaker. I'm going to help and ask, how are we generating more listings? And how can I help in doing it so that those buyers just come to me the way that I need them to come to me? Right? It's a really interesting perspective, because if I build my plan to get 30 listings, are buyers going to come based on all the statistics?
Yeah.
100%. I don't even have to focus on listings.
If you look at our team,
Or on buyers.
if you look at my team's business model, we don't have the economic model, and Joseph will probably hate this, is we don't have the buyer side written out. It's, we want to sell 100 houses. Here's how we're going to do it on the listing side. Because we know with listings, properly marketed, buyers come. I can't control how many buyers come, because I can't control how many people call my sign. I can't control how many people come to my open houses, but I can control the activity necessary to go out and get more listings. Does that make sense? So I can say, if I do this amount of work, I will sell 100 listings this year, and I know the buy side will come. What's unique is if I fall short by 20 listings, well, guess what? I sold 80 houses and I guarantee you more than 20 buyers came, so I went over my goal. So we focus our activity on the listing side on our team.
So somebody said to me once, they said, how do I make money? There's 3 things you have to do. You have to put yourself where money's changing hands. You have to be the very best in the world at it and do what nobody else in the world wants to do. And then number 3, you have to leverage your strengths, right? If I want to put myself where money is changing hands and I want to identify the highest probability listings, how would I do it? What are the ways? Give me a couple of examples.
See who's raising their hand to sell their house.
100%. So who would that be?
People that are doing their own, people that tried to do it and expired, and
FSBOs, expireds, great. I love that. Your sphere, we're never going to forget about your sphere of influence, your SOI. Communicating with them on a daily basis or a weekly basis, whatever you want to do, the more the better, in my opinion. Having great, valuable conversations
In a strategic way.
in a strategic way, timely, useful, and needed. But write those 3 things down: timely, useful, and needed. All of your communication should be those 3 things, right? And we know what they need. They need information about real estate. Any other ways or any other high probability listings? Because those were great.
maybe people that bought in like 2019, 2020.
Great one.
I love that. Because why?
That's what Jan.
Because they have a lot of equity. most likely.
Yeah, they got in before the boom.
I got it.
Exactly. Flip the next slide.
So we put a list together. And you guys know all of these, correct? Do any of you not know what any of these mean?
What's PPC?
pay-per-click ads.
Or
Cool. So here's what we're gonna do. We're going to go through, and we're gonna go through each one of these. Right? And then we're gonna give examples of creative ways. By the way, who likes a cold call? Other than this crazy individual to my left.
cold call or prospect?
Okay, cold call, and I love that you just distinguished the difference, because I like the prospect. I'm with you. I don't like the cold call. Now, have I cold called? Yeah, I've cold called. And to be totally honest, when we were building West Ashley 5 years ago, I didn't have any other option but to cold call. So I cold called a lot. At Morgan Stanley, I built a $40 million book of business through cold calling. It still works. But what's cool is if we take the model and identify that, hey, these are where the listing, these are the highest probability listings, but we add creativity, right? The triangle on page 37 of the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book right here. Right? If we add creativity to it, we can find a way to get in business or get in relationship more specifically with individuals in these categories and never cold call them ever. Never have to cold call them. So we're gonna go through, we're gonna give you a couple of examples in each one of these. And then we're gonna break up into halves and we're going to mastermind together and come up with a couple of solutions in each space. And then we're gonna get on with our day and go implement what we learned and the way that we're thinking. How's that sound?
And nothing, this will be a wasted hour if you guys don't take something and implement it.
Nope.
Just don't let it be a wasted hour.
So database, how would you, without cold, well, there shouldn't be any cold calling in your database because you know them, right? But how would you leverage your database in a strategic but creative way to take more listings?
So I would break it up to homeowners. Like, who are the homeowners in my database? I don't care if I sold them the house, but who is the homeowners? Because what do you guys sell? You sell houses. So what should you have in your database?
Homeowners.
Their addresses. So what I would do with my data, because it's a strategic conversation around getting more listings. So I would go through my database and I would say, hey, Vince, it's been a while since we talked. You came across me in the database and I saw your house at 123 Main Street, and I pulled it up in the MLS, and I know this might be weird, but what an investment you purchased. You bought that house for $225 in Mount Pleasant 5 years ago. That's awesome.
Yeah,
And I know.
I had a great real estate agent.
Yeah, well, are you still in conversation with them?
Yeah, you called me.
So, I know this doesn't pertain to you, and you can have this conversation with people who aren't with their agents, because just side note, statistically speaking, 1% of agents follow up with their database. 1% of agents communicate with their database on a systematic basis, meaning that when you guys use the excuse of they know an agent. Well, chances are their agent's not talking to them, so you can, right? So I saw the house, you bought it for 225, man, I just saw another house around the corner sell for like 600. Did you see that?
Yeah, I did.
That's awesome. Well, I know this probably doesn't pertain to you, and I know you're not interested in selling because you would have called me already if you were. But I'd love to swing by the house, just see how you guys have been doing, maybe bring coffee, and I'll give you an idea of what your house is worth. Are you open to that?
Yeah, I can do that.
You're not going there to list it. I told him, I know this doesn't pertain to you. I know you're not interested in selling. You would have called me before, but maybe I can go over there, spark a relationship. And maybe if I go over there and tell him that his house is worth 650, he's like, you really think I can get 650 for it? Well, yeah, that's what I get. Like the number I showed you. I haven't got no dog in the fight. I told you exactly how much I think it's worth. He goes, well, if I can get 650, well, what would you do with that, Vince? And then the conversation gets there. You're not going there to list it. You're going there to provide value.
And I think that's a really good piece. I'm going that there are 3 things that we're doing with prospect, right? We are number 1, the very first thing, but there's really 4, is seeing how they're doing. Ask them how you're doing.
Be sincere.
Be sincere about how are you doing. This is a crazy world we live in now, and not everybody's doing great. So ask them how they're doing. Number 2, we want to understand whether they need to buy, sell, or invest in real estate. Number 3, we want to know whether they know anybody that's buying, selling, or investing in real estate. But number 4, and probably the most important outside of number 1, which was how you doing, is to push the relationship forward and cultivate it deeper. And that script that he just gave us allows us to continue to focus on the number 1 thing we want to focus on, which is get more listings and help more people, while also pushing the relationship forward, right? So if you were to go and prospect FSBOs and you don't cold call.
And I don't cold call. The best part about for sale by owners is when they put them on Zillow, Craigslist, for sale by owner.com, what are they putting attached to the listing? Their freaking cell phone number. They just give you the way to contact them. So instead of cold calling, just shoot them a simple text message that says, hey, Jan, I saw your house at 123 Main Street. I've got it pulled up. It looks great. Is that pending yet?
No, I've had several people look.
Several people look. Well, if none of those work out, would you be open to working with an agent if I could net you more money? They're gonna say yes or no. There's two things. I'm asking them, if I could make you more money, and this is all text message, if I could make you more money, would you work with me? Well, the answer is yeah, but they're gonna say yes or no. No. Why'd they say no? They don't like your profession. They don't like you guys. That's why they're for sale by owners, is they don't like real estate agents. So the script text back to that is, do you mind me asking what your experience was with an agent in the past? Go from there, leave it there. Now you're just conversating. If they say yes, well, of course, great. What's your availability look like? That's it. Don't try to sell anything. I had a conversation the other day. We're not trying to sell them on using you. We're trying to sell them
Not on the
on,
phone.
not on the phone. I just want to meet with you and see if I can provide value. That's it.
It probably won't be on that first. You know what I mean?
What, no, it likely won't be on that first appointment.
No, I'm saying like that conversation.
I will, somebody in this room scheduled 18 for sale by owner appointments through text message in 3 weeks without ever selling a single piece of real estate,
Didn't know what the acronym FISBO was.
and used that exact script. Is that wrong?
Mm.
So that script works, guys. And you don't like it, now you just have to go cultivate the
I
relationship.
know it sounds
That'll get you
crazy.
in the door.
Yeah,
It'll get you in the door.
that's it.
And I get it. And that's what this is about. We have to change our thinking, right? Because honestly, logically, it doesn't make sense that that would work. It really doesn't. Just like it doesn't make sense that cold calling would work, and it still does.
Yeah.
It's crazy, right? In a TCPA compliant way, of course.
And
Do I
when
know
you're
that's-
looking
that's a
for,
edge.
when you're looking, just a quick little tip, when you're looking for sale by owners, look different places, right? Some are gonna post them on Zillow, some are gonna be signs in the yard, some are for sale by owner.com, some are Facebook, some are Craigslist. Look outside of just Zillow, right? Do some research, because the Zillow ones are where everybody is. So that's where everybody's communicating with. You're gonna have better luck, higher probability of answer rate when you're looking outside of just Zillow on that. Sorry,
So for expires or terminated, so again, he didn't cold call, it is a cold text, I get it, right? It's gonna be very hard to sell a piece of real estate without ever talking to anybody. I still haven't seen it done. So this is another strategy, we're just creatively thinking about strategies here. So expires and terminated, how would you do that?
So I'm gonna take, does anybody know Victoria Northcutt Briggs? She's an agent out of the Boulevard. One of my childhood friends' wives, she was prospecting expires and terminated and did not want a cold call. But she landed a $3.1 million listing last year, sold it. It was an expired, and what she did was she was targeting listings that she wanted. And so instead of spending 3 hours cold calling 300 listings, what she did was she spent 3 hours putting together a packet. She already had a template, like a template book, and created a specific packet for that listing. Okay, with the pictures, don't listen. She used other people's photos, and don't tell
We
Joseph.
just
I
had
said
a
that.
conversation about this at the business planning clinic, so don't listen to anything.
Don't listen to anything I said, but she made a very nice packet specific for this property. Talking about what she's seeing in the market and market stats, and here's what I would think about your house, and I'm not, judging by the photos, I don't know if it's a condition issue, and it might be a price issue, and laid out everything, right, specific to this property. And then on top of it, she wrote a note that said, hey, Jan, I know you're getting bombarded with cold calls, and that's not who I'm gonna be, but I wanted to take time to put together a listing packet for your house. I love your property, I would love the opportunity to meet with you, and I would love the opportunity to market with you. So I'm gonna drop this at your door, this is just dropping it at the door, and I won't call you again, but I hope I hear from you. And just left it. What's more impactful, that or a cold call? Right? The first. Cold call, you can get more done, you have a lower probability. But I would say that you're probably 1 in 300 for an expired, but you're probably 1 in 25 when you do something like that. Because they're annoyed by the cold calls, so you're addressing, I'm not gonna do that. But I do want to market your house because I am interested in your house.
And everybody in this room knows, or many people in this room know Joseph Klosik. When he first started in real estate, he used this strategy. He couldn't afford to FedEx anything, so he went to the FedEx office, got a bunch of free envelopes, and he would go and create CMAs or create listing packets, things of that nature for expired listings. He would write out a nice handwritten note, he'd put it into the FedEx thing and write their address on it and go over there and drop it off at their door. And that's how he built, that was one of the pillars, the lead pillars that he used to build his business. And there's a personal aspect to that.
Has to be personal.
There's a personal, but that personal note makes a big, big impact on differentiating yourself from the other people that are cold calling that particular listing that expired, right? So this one's a touchy one, distressed owners.
So distressed owners are hard. But this is where you can make the biggest impact in somebody's life, and I 100% agree with that. When somebody's getting foreclosed on, and 5 years ago, they were able to buy that house. They were in a financial situation where they could buy that house. And it wasn't because of the 2007 housing crisis where anybody was getting a loan. They were qualified to buy that house, guys. And something happened, something probably pretty tragic to their life, a death, a divorce, lost their job. For some reason, they are not able to make that payment on that house. And if they're not able to make that payment on the house, chances are they're not able to pay their car or the credit card. And all day that phone is ringing and ringing and ringing. You owe us money, you're bad with your finances. You owe us money, you're bad with your finances. And that's pretty taxing. And then just letter. If that, you're not gonna call these people or email these people or text these people and say, hey, I saw you're getting foreclosed on, right? Because they get those letters. What you are gonna say is, hey, Vince, I saw your house at 123 Main Street. I was prospecting your neighborhood and I saw you purchase it in 2015. What an awesome investment you made. If you're open to seeing how much equity you have and capitalizing on that equity position you've built, give me a call. Again, congratulations on the investment, Ben. You send that letter. They're getting letters saying you owe us money.
Letter.
And I'm saying, congratulations on the investment because they did make an investment. I'm acknowledging that they made a great buy when they could. They didn't overspend. Something happened in their life. Guys, something happened in their life. Now, what's going to happen, and you guys need to know this, and I'm just going to beat this in because I think this is a great opportunity. If the bank sells their house, what happens? They've got a foreclosure and the bank doesn't care how much they made. The bank just wants to recoup their costs. If you sell their house, they now have $100,000, $200,000 to get themselves out of the hole. But they're so clouded right now because of all these letters that they're not thinking about selling their house. They need somebody to tell them, you made a good investment, let's use it. And now's the time to use it. And you guys can make a client for life by doing this. That's one way for distressed owners.
And again, these individuals are probably in a really bad way. Financially, mentally, that is tolling. Getting every letter that you get is saying you owe more money. We're in a position that if done properly, we can help. And if you're a believer like me in that, hey, the amount of value I bring this world, compensation is gonna be a byproduct of that. And if I get enough Zig Ziglar, if I get enough people what they want, I can have anything in the world I want. This can, and you're really good at conflict resolution or being empathetic. This can be a great space and a really fulfilling space for you to build a great business and one that is, again, clients for life. Because you just helped somebody out of a really terrible situation. Or rent by owner?
Absentee owner.
Oh,
Absentee owners is simple. If you're gonna go to Batch Leads or one of these lead sources, you're gonna type in out of state and a trust owners, or however you want to create the search, draw a big circle. What you're gonna get is you're gonna get a list of everybody who does not occupy that property. And chances are they live out of state, and you can get specific to in a trust, meaning they inherited the property and they live in Michigan, right? And it's vacant. You can get specific about your search, draw a big circle, get the list. It's gonna give you their phone numbers and it's gonna give you their email addresses. We're not cold calling, so ignore the phone numbers, but you have their email addresses. Who's prospecting absentee owners right now? Investors. That's it. Maybe one or two real estate agents, but most of them are investors who are just saying, we'll buy your house cash, we'll buy your house cash. And then they get these lowball offers.
yeah.
So what you're gonna do
30% discount.
for a 30% discount, what you're gonna do is you're going to send an email that says in the subject, not an investor, in all caps. Okay, and then you're gonna send an email basically saying, hey, I know you're getting bombarded by investor emails, trying to lowball you and they're gonna capitalize on the equity position you built or whatever. I would love to have a conversation about selling your house for the most amount of money as possible. If you're open to seeing how much equity you have in that house, give me a call. Here's my number. I'll also send you a letter. Then they're also getting postcards. If anybody has rental property, you get these postcards. And that postcard says, not an investor. I'm not looking to lowball you. If you're open to seeing how much your house would sell on the open market for the most amount of money and the least amount of time with the least amount of hiccups, give me a call. Send those out. Because know how they're being prospected, prospect against it.
There's something that there's a connection between all of the creative ideas that we've come up with that Ben is talking about and we've come up with. And we're solving a problem in a different way than everybody else is. Right? We want to solve a problem and make people feel good about it. For an absentee owner, maybe they don't want to sell, I get it. But what's their problem? They get a bunch of postcards that say, we buy cash now, and then get a bunch of lowball offers. If I was that, I would get so frustrated. We know their problem. But maybe at one point they do want to sell, but they got the letter, a nice handwritten letter from an individual that doesn't want to lowball and that wants to help them when they're ready. It's different. We're just solving a problem that they have and making them feel good about it. For rent by owners?
That's how I would do it. They're not institutional investors. Chances are it's a mom and pop, one or two. They're putting their phone numbers on Craigslist. You're gonna find a lot of them on Craigslist. There are some on Zillow. You just send them the same text message. Hey, saw your house at 123 Main Street for rent. Is it rented? Yes or no? No. Great. Before you do rent it, would you be open to seeing how much it would sell for? Yes or no? No. Would it be okay if I continue a conversation that when you are ready to, we have a relationship built, add them into your database? Yes, great. Schedule an appointment.
What's really cool about all of these methods is you can systematize the heck out of them.
Yep.
Right, and that was also what we were thinking. For circle prospecting, this one you have to do cold call. Do you?
You don't.
You actually don't?
If you have leverage. If you have leverage in a market, so Jan, if you're on Jan's team, I'm gonna use Jan as an example because I'm looking right at it. You're on Jan's team and you see a listing that you guys just sold around the corner or a house that you guys helped buy around the corner. Would it make sense to you to go around to the entire neighborhood and say, hey, guys, this house sold for X amount of dollars over list price, or this house sold for, the appreciation in this neighborhood is 50% in 5 years. Just wanted to know if you'd be open to seeing how much your house is worth.
And I'll give you even another one that I know somebody in this office does, where they hold an open house. Maybe they get a listing in a particular market that they have a good stronghold on. They get a listing the day before. They go and they knock 100 doors in that neighborhood and invite them not to the open house, but to the neighborhood exclusive open house. An hour before the public open house. Hey, come and check out this neighborhood. Or come check out your neighbor's selling. We're holding the house open. We would love to have you there just to see what else is in the neighborhood. Come join us at the neighborhood specific open house at 9 o'clock before the public one at 10. And here's the fun part, meet your neighbors. There's gonna be a lot of people there, because I know that this is a great community.
And typically when we're doing open houses, what are we prospecting for?
Buyer.
Can we shift that? We're prospecting for listings. Buyers are what we think, right? Because that's like, they're coming to buy the house. Let's practice a different script. Ben Kinney's script is, hey Vince, thanks so much for coming to the open house. There's typically 2 reasons people show up, and then I'll let you go. One is they're interested in selling and they want to see how much their house is worth and see what the competition looks like. Or 2, they're thinking about buying. Which one are you?
Now, here's what's very important about the script you just used. He led with the one thing that he is prioritizing. He's first, he's asking about them, but he's also leading with the reason that people typically come is they are selling. And they want to know how much their house is worth, and then he asks, or they're buying. You start with the number one priority in your mind.
And if you're in bold, you elevate the first and you soften the second, or you're buying.
Death and divorce, that sounds fantastic.
Yeah, death and divorce. I see agents try this in a lot of different ways where they'll pull the county records, they'll send letters, or they'll call and be like, sorry, you're getting divorced. Don't do that. Let's not do that. This is gonna sound a little bit morbid, but build relationships with people that make money off of death and divorce. Divorce attorneys, funeral homes, build authentic relationships with them. Understand it, especially if you are an agent who has dealt with a lot of divorce clients, like Jason Abrams, you can communicate better to them. And you can service those people in a better way. We'll use the Jason Abrams experience, but build relationships with the people that make money on these situations.
Here's what's really cool. If you're good at conflict resolution, I think of that as like, there's a grenade in the room. If you know how to put the pin back in it, then maybe this could be a place that you play. If you don't know how to put the pin back in it, stay out of the dorm room. Right? Like, this is conflict resolution, right? Jason Abrams, he built his business on relationships with divorce attorneys. He used to go to Capitol Grill. He didn't have any money to be able to buy anything other than water and the free bread that they gave him. All the divorce attorneys used to go to that Capitol Grill around 3-4 o'clock in the afternoon. He would get to meet them. He realized that by building this relationship, this isn't a one transaction relationship. That individual might have 20 clients that they're working with right now that are going through divorce. And a divorce, if done properly, could be potentially 3 transactions, not 1. So not only does he have one relationship that he's focused on, that relationship has 20 that also need to buy, sell, or invest in or buy or sell real estate 3 times. The sell plus 2 potential buys. Now, does that always happen? No, but it's more transactions. There's a higher probability, right? Does that make sense? And then let's run through this one. PPC.
PPC, pay-per-click ads, go to campaigns instead of running ads. And if you've ran these ads, I'm sorry for that I'm about to call you out, but are you interested in selling Facebook ad? What does that do?
It's like when I walk into Nordstrom's and they ask me, how can I help you? You need any help? No, I don't. I just want to go back to the shoe section. So it's the same. It's always gonna be a no.
So instead shift it. Create one of these blogs. It says, there's blogs all over, 10 ways to get your house ready for the spring market to sell. Run an ad on that. Anybody that clicks on that, what are they interested in doing? Selling. So shift it, shift the way that we're marketing to these people in pay-per-click ads.
And what did he just do? He just solved somebody's problem in a way that makes them feel good because he gave them information. We have to add value to people. Like, solve their problem and make them feel good, add value.
There were 2 other ways that I found when we were sitting here that I was thinking about. One, I've also been talking about, what does the MREA say? We have 1 listing. How many buyers should we pick up? 2. If we have 1 buyer in a low inventory market, do you think we can market that buyer to pick up 2 listings? Yeah, I have a buyer for a specific neighborhood. Right? There's nothing for sale. Okay, is there a house that exists for them?
In that neighborhood that they want to be in?
So then go door knock, go mail, go cold call. I know it's.
Or you would use one of the strategies, right, for like maybe a handwritten note. We've all heard of the golden letter, right? I have a buyer in this neighborhood that's looking, right? Or a personal note about the equity in their home. But you can target based on your buyer pool, the listings in that particular market, in that particular neighborhood that they're interested in with a personal note or a personal touch. Right? So I'm literally using my buyers as ammunition to go and find listings.
Jackie Bean did this on IOP, and I think that the house that she ended up listing, they didn't buy it, but the house she ended up listing was like 4.5 million and sold it on a golden letter. That cost 75 cents, guys.
It's kind of cool.
Kind of cool. And then the other one, Amy's in here. What does Amy's company do? 55 plus community. What do they just sell to get into a 55 plus community? Their house. Chances are they sold a house because they want to figure out the transition of life. Do you think they sold their house and then said, now I need to figure out a place to live? Or do you think they said, we're trying to get all of our options. We're thinking about selling our house and we want to get into a 55 plus community. Would she be a good person to build a relationship with, who are coming into her office every single day saying, I'm trying to figure out what my next transition is?
That's a really creative thought, right, that he just had. Like, who is it that is in between people selling houses? Oh, the property manager of an apartment complex that's 55 or older. Of course, that makes sense. How do I develop that relationship and be the preferred real estate agent for everybody that goes through Restore? They have really cool koozies too, so maybe some of yours, and put them in.
And so that means that they're charging a lot of rent, which means that the people that are moving into that community have big houses.
Yeah.
Big houses sell for a lot of money. So we go out, like, be creative about it.
Yeah, we created, take the model, again, this is all we wanted to do. How do we change the result? We have to start with the way that we think. The market is changing, and the world is changing. We have to adapt, and the first way that we have to adapt is we have to change the way that we think about the problems in front of us. We don't have enough listings in our business, great. How do I think about it differently so that I get more listings in my business and help more people? So all of the ways that we just went through, we just gave, however many that is, we gave 8 ideas, 8 creative examples as to how to take more listings in places that we know that we already know are about to list, right? And we did it all without cold calling. I never had to pick up the telephone and cold call somebody. Yes, did I have to reach out to them in some way? 100%.
If you're not willing to send a letter, to send a text, to door knock, to meet somebody face to face, or a cold call, this is not the industry for you.
It's all
You
hard.
have to go talk to people, because people own houses. Ghosts don't.
Dude, I mean, just thinking, like, you can put on, if you really like to train and you like seminars, you can put on a seminar and invite all the individuals that are at the store to it. And put on a seminar about what are the things that you have to pay attention to when selling or listing your house. There's a lot of different ways that you can go about this. So over the next 5 minutes, and then we'll wrap up and we'll get you out of here. I want, what?
One more thing with Tiffany.
Oh, yeah, one more thing, and then we're gonna mastermind.
Well, let's
No,
do
we're gonna
mastermind
mastermind
and then we'll come back to Tiffany.
So this side of the room, just mastermind together, take a couple of these ideas and write down 3 things that you can implement. Whether they're our creative ideas, whether they're your creative ideas, and this side of the room do the exact same thing. 3 creative ideas as to how you can act on getting more listings in your business over the next 30 days. So go ahead, let's break up, and Zoom world, you can do the same.
And he says 30 days because these people are transacting in the next 30 days. You'll
Give
pull
me
this,
5 minutes.
you'll pull this absentee owner list and half of them are already active. So let's mastermind in this group right here and that group right there.
What was the site you guys said?
Batchleads.io.
Batch.
Batch like a batch.
Oh, right.
Leads.io.
Yeah.
Well, mastermind.
We don't mastermind at your beck and call.
Out.
Get out of here.
So,
Yeah, Matt.
so when I first started, it was fire still. So that was the media. I love it.
Things like this, so can add to the warmness of the call. So I always think about stacking.
Popcorn package.
So if I do something really well, I can call, how do I make it more effective?
You call them.
So
before,
instead of
like,
100
ship,
calls for
take
every
it out,
one.
you know, show friends with you, and I go drop out the
But
popcorn package.
how can I
and
make
want
that
popcorn, they'll
80
be-
calls for every one?
So.
Maybe I optimize that
These
back,
kind of days like
right? I'm
that, so
optimizing the system that I'm running, the really good cold
put a
calling,
little
but
video
what
together
of
on
these,
YouTube.
like maybe mailers, right? Or events, or
Yeah,
what
you
can
can
I add
staple
to it? To make
Card,
that
like a
strategy
QR
more
code
effective.
on it,
That
and
makes
a
sense.
possible
I'm
drop
stacking
it.
strategy.
Yeah,
It's a good idea.
I like that one.
yeah. Do you need?
I haven't had much experience with many of these, but I do have people wanting, they want to live in the villages on St. John's. Island. So he was talking about, you know, going around and, doing personal like letters for people. That kind of thing, seeing if anyone's thought about, well, not thought about selling, but asking those questions, you know, about the equity in their home. I mean, I guess in my case, that would help me on both ends.
Yeah.
For my buyer and helping out someone maybe sell. Yeah.
Like one of my takeaways is that no matter what you're doing, there's so many different ways to do it, but it's important to be different. Right, because you're gonna get 100 calls from different agents, so just being different, even that's like a pattern interrupt, like the first 5 seconds, like, hey, if you wanna hang up, that's totally cool with me, sure. Just sit there and pause for like 10 seconds. So whatever you're gonna do is just different, because there's 100 different ways to make money, you know?
That's what we've been in this for 6 weeks now, so we're brand new. But that's, I feel sounds inspiring right at the beginning. I was like, I don't have experience. And then I went in and I said, well, to be honest, if what's the realtors that work, your house is sold by now, and you have a closing appointment instead of listing call.
Yeah.
You know, so that was kind of my approach, was like, I can bring you something different, I have backgrounds in marketing and sales that can, bring another approach.
Yeah.
So-
Also, it's like dating too, like you're not gonna go and like marry them with the first date, so you're just trying to like
Yeah.
set up something. Yeah. And it's just like at the end, just like, hey, it doesn't work out, always cool.
Yep.
I think what you just said is perfect. If I can interject, I always, when we schedule appointments, we use that script, like, if you don't end up listing with me, that's fine. I appreciate the opportunity. This is so not pressure. Because they're terrified of being sold. So when you show up there and say, there's no pressure, I don't have paperwork, like, I'm just seeing if I can help you, and if I can, great, and if I can't, I appreciate it. Take that, remove that pressure.
I think that's the big thing, is bringing something different to the table, because, I mean, there's so many other people doing exactly what we.
How we do it?
And having a little bit of a different.
So there are,
perspective
if you go on
and
Craigslist,
adapting to the
that's
market,
not
like
going
you're
to
talking
be
about. I
your
think that's
institutional
really
investor.
important, because, like,
That's
yeah,
gonna
they're
be
getting
just
cold
the-
calls, they're getting
it's
letters, they're
typically a
getting.
mom and pop individual who has one.
Somebody who's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A good approach is to
It's
tell them.
not gonna be a property manager, it's not gonna be some big institutional buyer. That's going to be somebody that's got one or two investment properties, like I know Joseph would be an example, Joseph has an investment property.
Those are
Right.
reasons we have
He's
a
an
license.
absentee owner,
But here
we're
it
still
is,
in Charleston,
it-
but he
that I wanna
doesn't live in that
share.
particular
You
house,
feel
that would
aware
be
of
an
it.
example, like one
Here's
or
what's
two.
involved.
And that's,
You don't
that one you
discuss
gotta
those.
look all over the place, because they're on Zillow, but they're
I
on
forget how it's worded, but
apartments.com, they're on
bring
for
that value
for
to
rent, or whatever.com, Craigslist again.
I think the most important thing with that though is that
Like,
that should only
They're
be
all-
what's your from.
the internet.
Only,
Like,
the only reason is just to get paid. I wouldn't say anything negative, I would just sell the appointment.
This was years ago.
I wasn't calling to list a property, I was calling to see if I would, if you would allow short-term rentals.
wasn't
and have a particular
worded so
property,
much the
but
value
sign a
page,
long-term
but let-
lease, and then I was gonna
Some
Airbnb.
tips on selling your own home. Look at that.
It's a business model.
It's a business model.
Yeah, that's.
So I called him, now he wasn't interested in it because he didn't want to Airbnb it. Now, there are a lot of different things you can do with that, but one of the, that's just an example, he was a small.
Well, I think the
investor.
biggest
It
thing
wasn't
is
like,
that,
now that would work if I
you
went and
know,
tried to do
it
that. with
is
a big
using your own
investor,
individuality,
like with a big
using
hedge
who you
fund or
are. I
something
love the
like
fact that
an
you
institutional buyer,
lean
that's not gonna work,
into,
but
I'm a
that's
new
an
agent,
example of I reached
but
out
I
with
come with a
something that he never
background
heard
in
of,
creative
and he
marketing
do it.
or,
Sure,
whatever
that's
it is
himself.
that you are
But
bringing that's
the point
helping you
is,
stand
they're
aside,
open
because
to
it's true. Most people reaching out there to bring
All right,
listings and
we'll
stuff like that.
wrap
they're
up.
doing
30 seconds.
What, their company tells them to do. Here's our Century 21 packet. Here's our
Next.
remodel.
I'm gonna go, well, I'm gonna let Tiffany announce it.
Take it, make it
Understand,
your own.
guys?
That's one of the benefits.
This is
of
where the tech is.
You were encouraged to do that.
Yeah.
So we have.
Carolina one and all of.
So real quick, what were one or two ahas that we had from our discussions? What one or two ahas? Yeah, I'm sorry to cut you off. What were some of the ahas? What was your discussion? Like, give us one or two ahas. What were some of the?
Just talking about individualizing what you do, making it fit your personality and all that, that's what, just kind of having that discussion there at the end is, making sure that it's you. And don't try to necessarily copy somebody else's or copy a company script or whatever, but make it your approach.
100%, I love that. There are three things that build trust. It's logic, empathy, and authenticity. If one of those things aren't there, it's the trust is going to be deteriorated or it's not going to work. So being yourself and adding yourself into that dialogue is imperative. So I love that. How about this? What do you guys say?
I was gonna say, don't try to do all of them, just pick one.
Yes. Don't do all of them. And I know that Matt mentioned, like stack, or I mentioned to him, because he's already cold calling, but like, how do we stack to create more effectiveness in maybe one of the things that we're already doing, right? So-
The stacking of effectiveness is perfect. So like if you are cold calling expireds, well then target the ones you want and then add the pamphlet. Whatever it is, just you can take these ideas and make them better. Cause we don't have. If there's 1,000 expireds, guys, we don't have 100% of them. So we may get 2% of them. So we're trying to go after the 98% as an office.
Think system and scale. So all of these things were things that we could do with scale. I don't really want to do anything that's going to take a ton of time. I want to do things that I can do once learn how to do it, and then figure out how to do that thing multiple times in the same amount of time that I did it once. I want to scale. So, T,
Big announcement. We have April.
Hello.
Bold. We have Bold coming in April. Tiffany? Can you see her?
Yes, can you guys hear me? Can you hear me?
yes,
Perfect. Hey, everybody. We are so excited. Thank you for taking the poll the other day. If you saw it on Facebook, we were debating January bold, April bold, and overwhelmingly y'all selected April. And so we're bringing it back April 2024. And what that means is we are 6 months away from bold. Yes, so excited. And what we also know to be true is the biggest thing that's going to hold us back from taking bold can be money. It's $799, and that is a huge chunk of money, especially as we head into realtor dues, Christmas, all of that stuff. And so one of the things we want to do is help you out. If you want to be proactive and getting bold paid for now, we're going to start a payment plan starting November through May, and you can add $100 to your AR bill. If you sign up through this QR code and raise your hand and say, yes, I'm interested, I'm committing between now and the end of the month that I'm going to take bold. The Market Center will cover the remaining $100 for your bold. So you'll pay the $700. So it's like 7 months of November through May. And then we will take care of the rest. And then the reimbursement plan and everything will still be in place. We're still going to be doing other savings and stuff throughout the months, but we want to get those that are ready to jump on board and raise their hand and make a commitment to, I need to take bold in April of 2024, an opportunity to do that. So just take out your phone, put your camera on, do the QR code. There's 4 quick questions, and then I'll get your information between now and October to say yes to this opportunity. So that's all I got.
Steve. Are we good? Thanks, Steve. So essentially, you have the opportunity to have a payment plan for the next 7 months and a reduction in the actual cost of bold. So you get a discount to bold, $100 discount to bold, $700, $100 a month over the next 7 months. We can just put it on your AR plan, or on your budget, but on your AR bill, and you get to get into one of the best listing classes there is in the industry, hands down. Yes, there's a lot of mindset. No, there's not a lot of discussion about cold calling at all. There's a lot of discussion about what are the different dialogues we can have with our database in order to take more listings and help more people. And 3, you're getting a $100 discount because you're proactively planning to take a ridiculous amount of listings between April and however long 8 months from there is. So take a picture of that thing, you do the QR code thing, and if you need anything, let us know. We are humbled to be in business with each and every one of you. Hope this was super, super valuable. Some awesome ways to take listings without cold calling. If you were to implement 1 or 2 of them, just one of them, honestly, I guarantee you will take more listings this year than you did last year. And if you don't, come see me and I'll do something. I don't know what it'll be, but I'll figure it out and it'll be awesome.
Don't waste the hour, go implement them.
What was it?
Don't waste that hour that we just spent together.
Yeah.
Go implement something.
I love it. So I'm gonna be in business with each and every one of you. Go and crush it. Earn the weekend coming up. And if you need anything, let us know.
Thank you.
I want food. That's food. I'm a team.